The galaxy had always seemed vast and quiet, but for the Korvax Empire, that quiet was about to end in fire. Their worlds were under siege, not by neighboring empires, but by a merciless enemy known as the Void Hunters. Entire planets were being stripped bare. Fleet after fleet was destroyed. The Korvax had no time, no resources, and very little hope. Inside the capital system's orbital command station, the Council gathered. The room was battered from recent attacks, lights flickered, alarms echoed through the corridors, and the smell of burned circuits lingered in the air. Leaders argued over what to do next. Some wanted surrender. Some wanted to hide deep in unexplored space. Others wished to evacuate as many civilians as possible, though even that plan seemed doomed. Admiral Theskar, an older Korvax officer with scars on his face and hands, stood at the center. He reported the latest losses. 3 more fleets had vanished, and 2 evacuation convoys were missing. Civilian casualties were mounting faster than anyone could calculate. His voice was calm, but his eyes betrayed the weight of despair. The Void Hunters will not stop, he warned, and our defenses are failing. Silence followed. The truth was undeniable. The Korvax Empire was losing. Their technology could not match the enemy's speed or strength, and their allies had either fallen or refused to help. Then a young communications officer, Lyra Venn, spoke up. She was not part of the council, yet her voice carried courage beyond her years. "There is one option left," she said softly. The room immediately turned to her, some faces filled with dread. "Send a message beyond known space," she continued. "Call for help from the Deathworlders." The council froze. Whispers spread like wildfire. Some panicked. Others were furious. Humans? One elder hissed, "They are dangerous beyond reckoning." "They were cast out for a reason," another added. "They fight without limits. Their methods are unpredictable." Humans' Deathworlders were a forbidden topic among most galactic civilizations. Long ago, they had tried to join the wider galactic community, but their methods of war were too extreme. Their ships were faster, their weapons deadlier, and their tactics far too violent for other species to tolerate. Humanity was feared, ignored, and ultimately pushed into isolation. Since then, humans had disappeared into the outer regions of space. Some believed they had destroyed themselves. Others whispered that they were waiting, biding their time. The idea of calling them seemed reckless, perhaps even suicidal. Admiral Theskar closed his eyes and rubbed his temples. "Calling them could bring disaster," he said quietly. "We cannot predict what will come." Lyra's voice did not waver. "If we do nothing, we will be gone. All of us. Every world. Every life." At that moment, an alert sounded. A nearby system had fallen. Planets burned. Evacuations failed. Time was running out faster than anyone could measure. Finally, the High Speaker, the oldest and most respected council member, stood. His voice was frail, but it carried weight. "Prepare the message," he said. "A plea, not a command. We ask, we do not demand." The council agreed. The message was crafted carefully, filled with honesty and desperation. It admitted fear and failure, chronicled the destruction of fleets and colonies, and begged for aid. The final line addressed a single terrifying, legendary name: humanity. The signal was launched into the void, traveling faster than any Korvax fleet could hope to chase. It slipped through ancient relay points and uncharted channels, carrying the hopes of an entire civilization. After sending the plea, the council could do nothing but wait. Days passed with no sign of response. Fear grew heavier each hour. The Void Hunters advanced closer to the Korvax capital, destroying outer defense stations and scattering refugee ships across the system. Many leaders began to believe that humanity would never answer. Far beyond the known regions, deep in human space, dormant fleets stirred. Ancient warships, inactive for decades, activated simultaneously. Systems blinked awake. Engines powered on. Crew members rushed to stations. On the command bridge of a massive Terran warship, an admiral read the Korvac's distress message. His face was calm, his posture steady. Years of experience and countless battles had shaped him into a man of unshakable resolve. After a long pause, he turned to his crew. "Send confirmation," he ordered. "Prepare the fleet." Deep in the darkness of space, human warships began to move, engines igniting. The galaxy had no idea what force had just awakened, and the Korvax Empire had no idea what help was coming their way. Days passed after the Korvax sent their distress call. The Council watched the stars with fear, waiting for any sign of hope. The Void Hunters pressed closer, destroying systems with terrifying efficiency. Evacuation convoys were intercepted, worlds burned, and fleets were annihilated. The Korvax began to doubt their decision. Perhaps the humans would not respond. Perhaps their plea had been ignored. Then long-range sensors screamed alarms. Unknown ships were appearing, dropping out of hyperspace in massive numbers. The Korvax froze in disbelief. Thousands of human warships filled the void, larger and darker than anything they had ever seen. No bright colors. No symbols. Only sheer power. Alien sensors could not read the energy levels. Weapon systems were beyond imagination. The fleet's presence alone shook the Korvax. Then a human signal cut through the tension. Short, calm, precise. "This is Terran Command. We have received your call." The Council gasped. Humans had come. Not for glory. Not for politics. They had come to fight. The Deathworlder fleet moved into formation. A wall of steel and fire between the Void Hunters and the Korvax worlds. Every human ship was positioned with precision. No gaps. No hesitation. The Korvax leaders could only watch. Their fleets hid behind human lines, knowing they had no other defense. The humans did not speak of rewards. They did not demand control. They prepared for war, silently, efficiently, waiting for the enemy to make the first move. The Void Hunters approached, confident in their numbers. They did not expect resistance. They did not expect humans. The Deathworlder flagship moved forward, silent and commanding. A human admiral appeared on the bridge, calm, steady, unshakable. "Prepare your defenses," he said. No threats. No promises. Just fact. The Korvax realized the scale of what had just arrived. Humanity was no longer a story. No longer a warning. They were here, and they were ready to fight. The galaxy had just learned that the Deathworlders answered first, and they answered without hesitation. The Void Hunters did not wait. They attacked immediately, confident in their numbers. Their dark ships swarmed toward the Korvax systems, stars disappearing under the shadow of their fleets. Korvax captains panicked, their formations breaking under pressure. Evacuation convoys scattered, planets trembled under bombardment. But the human fleet held its ground. Massive warships formed layers of defense, absorbing attacks meant for weaker vessels. Smaller human strike ships darted between enemy lines, targeting critical points with deadly precision. Alien ships could only watch in disbelief. The Deathworlders did not fight like other species. They did not panic, they did not retreat, they controlled the battlefield. The first wave of Void Hunters was destroyed, shattered into fragments by concentrated fire. The enemy faltered, confused by the humans' tactics. Human ships advanced steadily, protecting Korvax civilians and ships, shielding evacuation routes, repairing damaged vessels while under fire. Admiral Theskar watched from the command station, a mix of fear and awe on his face. The humans were not only strong, they were disciplined, predictable in ways that made them almost unstoppable. The Void Hunters regrouped, launching a second, larger attack, but humans were ready. Weapons adjusted instantly, defenses shifted, flanking maneuvers executed flawlessly. Korvax's fleets began to gain courage. For the first time in cycles, they saw hope. The enemy could be resisted. Perhaps they could even win. On a burning frontier world, human drop fleets landed first, shielding civilians, forming barriers under fire, evacuating the wounded with calm efficiency. Elleran civilians watched in shock, unable to comprehend the courage and skill before them. These were the beings the galaxy had once feared, the monsters of legends, now their only salvation. As the first battle ended, the Void Hunters retreated, their advance halted for the first time. Admiral Theskar turned to the Council, a hint of disbelief in his voice. "The humans? They fight like nothing we have ever seen," he said. The Council members nodded silently. The lesson was clear. Humanity had arrived, and when they fought, they did not lose. The galaxy had witnessed the first clash, and all knew that the Deathworlders would not rest until the Void Hunters were destroyed completely. The victory of the first battles did not bring celebration to the human fleets. There was no cheering, no moment to breathe. Each ship carried damage. Many crews had faced heavy losses, yet the human admiral remained calm. Their next target was clear: the Hive Core, the living heart of the Void Hunter swarm. Destroy it, and the war would end. Fail, and countless systems would fall. The Hive Core was not just a planet or a ship. It was alive, pulsating with dark energy that controlled thousands of Void Hunter vessels across multiple star systems. Its defenses were deadly. Layers of living armor moved and adapted, energy shields flared without warning, and attacks from the Void Hunters continued relentlessly. Only a direct strike could destroy it, and the mission was certain death for many. Korvax's leaders watched from their orbital command stations with a mixture of hope and fear. "They will not survive this," whispered a counselor. Others were silent, realizing that the humans did not hesitate. They accepted the cost. They had trained for missions like this for decades. Their commitment was absolute. The human admiral addressed his fleet through calm, precise channels. "We will advance in formation. Protect the allies. No ship retreats. No one is left behind." His words were short, but each one carried weight. Crews understood instantly. Humans did not discuss fear. They did not doubt. They acted. Engines roared to life across the fleet. Massive warships and smaller strike vessels moved together in perfect coordination. Layers of defense formed a wall around the Korvax evacuation convoys. Supplies and shields were redistributed among damaged vessels. Engineers repaired hulls while under fire, recalibrating weapons and defensive systems mid-battle. Every action was deliberate, precise, and efficient. As the fleet approached the Hive Core, the Void Hunters launched everything they had. Dark ships poured from every angle, attempting to overwhelm the humans. The Hive Core itself pulsed violently, sending waves of energy that ripped through space. Many human ships were hit, flames and smoke trailing as they pressed forward. Yet the line never broke. No retreat was ordered. Human strike teams targeted weak points in the Hive Core's living armor. Smaller vessels darted through gaps in defenses, firing concentrated bursts to disable key control nodes. Heavy ships absorbed damage that would have destroyed ordinary fleets, shielding their smaller allies. Engineers repaired and repositioned without hesitation, ensuring the fleet moved as one unstoppable force. Korvax observers watched in awe. For the first time, they saw the truth of humanity. These were not reckless warriors or destroyers of worlds. They were survivors. Every movement, every strategy reflected centuries of adaptation and survival under the harshest conditions. Their homeworld had trained them to endure, to fight, and to protect those who could not protect themselves. The hive core lashed out, its energy spikes tearing into ships, consuming the unfortunate in seconds. Yet human ships adjusted, constantly changing positions, tactics, and weapon frequencies. Nothing was wasted. Every strike counted. Every action was coordinated. The fleet pressed on relentlessly, pushing closer to the heart of the enemy. The Korvax slowly understood why humanity was called the Deathworlders. They fought not for honor or reward, but because survival demanded it. They would not allow allies to die if it could be prevented. They accepted the cost of sacrifice as part of the mission, and even loss itself did not weaken their resolve. As the final assault neared, every ship braced for impact. Explosions lit the dark void, fires spread across hulls, and human crews worked tirelessly to keep their fleet operational. Evacuation paths for Korvax civilians were maintained, shielded by human vessels that took the heaviest fire. It was a testament to both discipline and endurance. The fleet moved as a single organism. Every pilot, every engineer, every captain understood the mission. They were aware of the cost, yet no hesitation slowed them. The Deathworlders did not flinch. They had come to destroy the hive core and would see the mission through, no matter the sacrifices. And as they advanced, the Korvax realized the scale of what they had called upon. Humanity did not fight for fame. They did not fight for power. They fought because it was their nature to endure, to survive, and to protect others, even at great cost. The galaxy was about to witness the full price of humanity's intervention. The final confrontation with the hive core would decide the fate of countless worlds. And the Deathworlders would not back down. The final battle had begun. The Deathworlder fleet moved with silent precision, engines glowing as they approached the hive core. Every ship was in formation, every captain and crew aware of the stakes. Many would not return. Every human knew this. There was no hesitation, no discussion of fear. Survival of the galaxy was their only focus. The hive core pulsed violently, sensing the approach of the enemy. Dark energy waves tore through space, disrupting sensors and shields. Void hunter swarms surged to defend it, filling the void with immense numbers and deadly intent. Stars disappeared under the shadow of their ships. The galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. The Korvax watched helplessly from a distance. Their fleets were damaged and scattered. Civilian convoys trembled in the orbits of fragile worlds. They had hoped for rescue, but now they realized they were witnesses to something far greater. Humanity was about to pay the ultimate price to save them. The human admiral gave the order. Engage. The Deathworlders advanced. Weapons fired in deadly synchronization. Massive warships absorbed the initial onslaught, shielding smaller vessels. Strike ships darted through gaps in enemy formations, delivering concentrated strikes that tore apart Void Hunter ships. The hive core responded with massive energy pulses, but human ships adjusted in real time, shifting formations, redistributing shields, and recalibrating weapons mid-battle. Explosions lit the darkness as ship after ship fell. Many humans would not survive. Still, the fleet moved forward, unbroken. They pushed closer to the hive core, determined to destroy it no matter the cost. Every pilot, engineer, and captain understood the price of their mission. They accepted it without complaint. At last, a group of human strike ships reached the core. Flames licked across their hulls, systems failing, yet they pressed on. The human admiral gave the final command: detonate. A blinding explosion erupted from the hive core. consuming the structure and sending massive energy waves across the battlefield. The Void Hunter fleet froze, uncoordinated, and then collapsed into chaos. Ships fell one after another, destroyed by the collapse of their central command. Silence spread across the system. Korvax worlds were saved. Civilizations that had been moments from extinction could begin to rebuild. The surviving human ships regrouped, battered and scorched, but still standing. Their crews had endured the impossible, and their mission was complete. The Korvax High Council sent a message across the galaxy honoring the humans. It was simple, yet permanent. When the galaxy called, humanity answered. Stories of the Deathworlders spread to every system. Aliens who had once feared them now admired their courage. Their name was no longer synonymous with danger. It became a symbol of sacrifice, endurance, and loyalty. Humanity had not sought power, conquest, or glory. They had come because it was in their nature to survive and to ensure that others could survive with them. Monument was built in deep space near the site of the Hive Core's destruction. Simple, unbreakable, a reminder of the price paid and the courage shown. The message inscribed on it was clear. The galaxy survives because humanity answered. From that day forward, no race would dismiss or underestimate humans again. The Deathworlders' actions became legend, inspiring fear in enemies and hope in allies. The galaxy would remember their sacrifice forever, and in the silent void of space, human ships continued their patrol, engines glowing faintly, ready to answer the next call, prepared to face any threat, and never leaving another civilization to face extinction alone. The story of humanity's Deathworld fleet had ended, but the legacy of their courage had just begun.